Hey, you guys get the, did you guys get the day off this holiday? Huh? No? Yeah, me neither. Time for work. So the night before the poults come back in, the night before they come back in, we want to bring the barns up to temperature for the poults. Now they're used to being at a 75, 78 degree temperature wherever they're at, and their individual, I'll call them cells. It's a little cardboard ring, and they have heaters in there for them. And so they're used to that warmth. So we try to bring the barns up to 72 or up to 75, and it depends on how they come in. But so I would start and try to get the elevated temperature up in here today. So that's what we've been doing. And that's, I'll mention a little bit about the heaters. They are, let's see, there's one right there over my shoulder. There are 5 of them in here. We want the birds to come in as comfortable as possible, because if they come in comfortable, then they go to the feed, they go to the water, they don't get the chill. It's just like you or I. If we come in from working outdoors all day, we had that chill, come in, sit down, and it's a little chilly or breezy for some reason in our home, we might get that sickness going. And it's the same thing for them. They've just taken a ride, they're in a new environment, and so we want them to feel as comfortable as possible, with the understanding that at some point we got to turn the heat down, because I do have to pay for the gas in here. So Sherry and I work pretty hard on how comfortable the bird is. We want them as comfortable as possible. So we do insulate a little bit differently for the winter time. And since we just had birds come out, and this is January, first part of January, we had birds come out, we didn't really have heaters running. As a matter of fact, very little did the heat run. It ran a little bit in October, and then the birds got big enough they produce their own heat, and we try to exhaust some of that heat, because comfortably, if it was ideal conditions, if we could be around 60 degrees or so, that would be wonderful. Okay, that would be good, but it's not always feasible. So again, 75 in here the night before, try to get it up to that, and as you can see, as comfortable in here as possible. A layer of sawdust we call litter in turkey. The turkey world. Here's our heaters. We have 5 in each barn, spaced out. And if you look down in through there, you can see 3 more. There's one, and there's one there a little further. Anyways, these are our heaters. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to determine working or not working. And so, okay, so this will try to light again. Got my finger in front of it. There, you can see it in there. And if it'll stay lit, this is great if it will. But they've sat all summer. And this is the surface. Now, I know very little about heating equipment. There, I just killed it. But seems to have some issues with the ground, just basically because of all the harshness of this environment. There's the ground over here. Safety features about this, although it looks very unsafe, but it will shut off for a number of reasons. One of which being if there's not enough movement of the fan. I'll show you that here in a second. And or if there is no ignition, it'll shut itself off, and then it allows me to come and try to fix it. This one happens to be running somewhat fair, so we're going to move on to the next one. So you can see it right here. There's a little bitty tab, and if that little tab doesn't come forward, it'll kick the heater off. So the fan is blowing up against it, and it brings it. Again, I'm not I am not a heating person. I did have a heating guy walk through it with me. But right here is a little button, reset button. And it's got to do with temperature. And I think if it gets too high, it kicks it off as well. So we'll see. I'll bet you now it'll run. So the computer board for this is right here. So I'm going to shut it off for a few seconds. And I'll bet you anything that it will start right back up. Here's our controller. This controls the barns, and it's basically the atmosphere in the barn, and that's the whole idea here. So let's get a little bit closer and let's talk about the heater. Here's those temperature probes. And so we're shooting for, right now overnight, 70 degrees. Tomorrow morning I'll turn that up to 75. But this computer is using these temperatures, and it averages 2 of them. So 1 and 2, it'll average. I can get here close enough, 65 to 68, and it varies. So down on this number 1 end is the cool cell end. A little bit breezier down there. Well, I got to do some things down there that we'll talk about later. But these are the temperatures by which this computer activates and turns on heaters. Where is a heater? There's a heater. And it turns them on and off. And so right now, there is 1 heater operating, which is most likely, and it is, it's the heater down here between 2 and 3. Now we've got 2 heaters on, and so forth. That's basically how that computer system for us works. Everything's monitored here. We can set temperature for each day of the flock, and I think right now it's every 7 to 10 days it will change the heat, and so our set temperature will gradually go down. Again, towards the end, it's set on 58. It's hard to get to 58 unless it's just darn cold winter outside. All right, so what do we do if this system has a failure of some sort? That's what this thing is. You notice that the red, that's for heat, and the blue are for cooling. And so when this system fails, or something out in the barn fails, then this system is a backup system, kicks on at some set, regular, hand adjusted thermostats out in the barn that are. These are the indoor old handheld thermostats that is our emergency backup system is connected to. And so there are 4 hanging, and this one happens to be heat. These other 3, those 3 are cool. For the cooling, and basically have more to do with the venting and the cooling of the barn itself. But this one here, currently, because we cleaned out and we turned them down to 40, so that we just need the bare minimum heat here in the winter time to keep things from freezing. But now it is time to turn them 10 degrees below set. And so I'm going to turn that a little bit more to about 70. Okay. Let's see, 70 is my set temperature, so I'm going to be 10 degrees below that, so 60 is where I'll set for now. And then every week I'll have to come in here and I'll have to adjust that and adjust it back and so forth until we get down to 10 degrees below that set temperature. Now these are all set differently. Let's see, I think it's 10, 12, 15, I think on these 3, 10, 12, and 15, I believe, below that or above the set temperature, so that if we get too high, more fans kick on, gets too high again, more fans kick on, and so forth. So that's what goes on there. So those connected to the emergency backup system in that little room there that we were just in. And so right now it's set to 10 degrees below the set temperature. And every so often I have to go out there and adjust that a little. But that is the backup for this system. And it's pretty important just in case. This sawdust is waste product from different sources that we buy and bring it in here. So again, There is an element of regeneration or regenerative ag to this, as well as the manure that was removed, that litter, the dirty litter, is put on the fields, and then we use it for organic fertilizer as such. I guess you couldn't call it organic, but it's natural. And so it's kind of a full circle for us. So right now I'm in coveralls, as you can see. I'm getting a little toasty because the temperature's coming up. I hear a heater kick on down there. There are 6 sensors located throughout the barn, a little probe that hangs down, and that tells the computer system what the temperatures are throughout this barn. So that's just one element. That's just heat. Just that one thing. And man, them little heaters can be a bear. We'll talk about them. Hey, I know that was quick. So if you've got a question about the heating that we've talked about today, temperatures or such like, we're just talking about heating today, but if you got a question, feel free to send us a message or a comment down there below. And that way we can kind of, maybe we'll learn something from you. It's hard to say, but by explaining it and going through it, I learned. And I've noticed a couple things today, so maybe you will as well.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Ask your questions so we can all learn together. Come and grow with us.